If you've watched our YouTube channel for a while, you might know that I spend a lot of my free time racing sailboats. And when I go racing, this is the bag that I bring with me. It's waterproof, it keeps all my stuff dry, and it carries everything that I need for a weekend of racing. There's a lot of safety equipment in here, like life vests and gloves, but the most important thing in here is a roll of duct tape. Because when you're racing 40-year-old pieces of fiberglass around a lake, stuff tends to break, and this is pretty invaluable when you're out on the water. There is one problem with duct tape though, and you might know this if you've ever thrown a roll of duct tape in a toolbox, or if you've thrown a roll of duct tape in a backpack to go camping for the weekend. It's that it gets sticky and covers everything in your bag in duct tape residue. Especially in the summer, where I live in Texas, I have opened up this bag before in the middle of July, and everything is just covered in gooey duct tape slime. It's not good. And today, we're gonna fix that. If you go buy electrical tape, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna come in a little plastic container. I originally thought it was just for packaging and somewhere to put the UPC code, but I'm more and more convinced it's to keep your electrical tape from getting crap on it when it's in your toolbox, and to keep it from melting all over your toolbox. If you go buy Scotch tape to do things like wrap presents, it comes in a nice little dispenser. Even painter's tape now comes in nice little dispensers. Why does that not exist for duct tape? And trust me, I went shopping, I checked, I tried. If you can find one, let me know, but I found no dispenser, no carrier for duct tape. So today, we're gonna make our own. Now, before deciding to make my own duct tape dispenser, I did try a couple different options to avoid the duct tape goo. One was to keep my duct tape inside of a Ziploc baggie. That doesn't work because the Ziploc baggie just tore apart and stuck to my duct tape. And then I found this. It is just a little to-go tape, and it was in this cardboard container. And I thought, hey, this will work, but it didn't, because after a couple weeks, my cardboard container started disintegrating, and my duct tape is still covered in nonsense, and the inside of my bag is covered in goo. So I think, yeah, we are going to have to make our own duct tape dispenser, and we're going to use the 3D printer to do it. And if this works, big if, and you want to make your own, I will link whatever 3D files we come up with today in the description below. Since we're going to be using the 3D printer, we need to create a CAD file. And there's 2 different types of CAD programs out there. There's one made for adults, which did things like create the space station. And then there's CAD made for children. And I still tend to use the CAD that's made for children. And all you do with the children CAD is play with different shapes and stick different shapes together until you have what you want, and send that file to the printer. So what we have here is the body of our housing for the duct tape, and then the little spout where our duct tape is going to come out. This little triangle, I'm hoping, is a cutter to help us slice our duct tape, and then a little nub right here for our duct tape to rest on. So we're going to turn all of that into one shape, and then we're going to take our mock-up here of the duct tape. I measured out the duct tape with the calipers. We're going to turn that into a negative. We're going to align this whole thing pretty straightforward. And then once it's aligned, we're just going to stick them together. And boom, that doesn't look right. Let's try this one more time. We're going to make our duct tape negative, assemble everything, and then boom, we have the body of our duct tape holder that we can export as a 3D file. We then drop our design into a piece of software called the Slicer, which goes through line by line and designs and tells the printer how to actually make the part. And then once that's done, we send it over to the printer to be made. Here we have our final product. We have the base that the duct tape is going to go in, and oh, that was a close call, but it fits really nice. It fits perfectly. We have our lid, which that might be a tight fit. I think this lid is going to be a pretty tight fit, so before we assemble it, we need to do a little cleanup. Whenever you print with a 3D printer, you usually have to print a little base around whatever you're making so that it actually sticks to the printer and doesn't come loose and screw up your print job. And that base leaves a lot of little residue. So a little bit of sandpaper, I'm gonna clean up that residue, and then we're going to try and get this thing assembled. All right, this is cleaned up and sanded good enough for what we're doing. So we're going to load up our duct tape dispenser. And I'm so glad this fits. Pull the little end out, put it over our cutter, and just put it on a nice little nub there so we have access. Slip our cover on. Slip our cover on. We're still just slipping our little cover on with the aid of a vise here. I must say, pretty durable plastic that we used. Ooh, that sounded like it slipped right into place. Well, the bad news, I probably made the cover a little too tight because I didn't want to have to use a vise to get it on. The good news though, the cover's definitely not going to fall off in my bag. The real important question we should be asking though is, does the duct tape dispenser work? I would say that's a win. And does the little cutter that we built in work? No, cutter does not seem to be sharp enough. But it's duct tape, so you can tear it, that's fine. And then if it ever does fall apart, we can just duct tape it back together. It's self-healing. This is the perfect design. We started with sticky, gooey duct tape, screwing up everything in my racing bag. And now we have duct tape in a nice little container that easily dispenses. And although you can't cut it with the little cutter that we built in, you can tear it, so that's fine. I think it's time to start working on a version 2, which is going to be bigger for a big roll of duct tape. And I was thinking I can put a little slot in the top rather than a little triangular cutter and just insert or melt a razor blade into it. So that's going to be a version 2. But version 1, it's ready to go racing. I did not think it was possible to improve on duct tape, but we just did. We successfully did it. If you want those files, they'll be linked in the description below. If you have any questions or comments, any ways to make this design better, please leave those comments in the description below, or always just leave a hateful comment. We love those here. And until next time, I'm gonna go to the lake. Actually, it's 11 o'clock at night. I'm not gonna go to the lake. I'm gonna go to bed. Bye.